Everything seemed normal. It was dead quiet. Even the dogs stopped barking. That's why I hate coming here at night. I was an HPD officer for 31 years until I retired in 2001. After that, I became a reserve officer stationed at the HPD Police Academy for another 14 years. And I was working as their computer technician. During the day, it's a pretty busy place with all the officers, training staff, and recruits on campus. But once the sun goes down, oh, this place is totally different. It's dark, no traffic, no pedestrians, nothing. And that's when strange things start to happen. That's why I hate coming here at night. But believe it or not, the HPD has overnight security guards to keep an eye on this place. One of them is a friend of mine named Tony. Well, one night, as he was doing his building checks, he heard a sound like wood clacking together. Now, no one was supposed to be here that night, so he went to go check it out. As he passed the K-9 building, he could hear the dogs going nuts in the kennels, running around, barking, kicking their food dishes, so he knew he wasn't the only one who could hear it. When he got near the SWAT house, the noise got louder and louder. As he looked at the building, he noticed that all the wooden shutters were opening and closing repeatedly, but there was no one standing next to the windows working the shutters. What's more, it was a windless night, so the wind wasn't blowing the shutters either. Tony took a few steps closer to the SWAT house, and all at once, the shutters stopped moving. It was dead quiet. Even the dogs stopped barking. Tony slowly walked towards the SWAT house, peeked in through the window and said,
"Hello? Anyone here?"
But no one answered and the building was empty. Now, if that was me, I would have booked it the heck out of there, but not Tony. He stayed. In fact, a couple of weeks later, he had another ghostly story. This time, Tony was sitting in the breezeway when he heard what sounded like a car horn tooting at the back corner of the property. So of course, he went to check it out. At first, he thought it was a car alarm coming from the old garbage incinerator plant behind the academy. But when he passed by the auto repair garage, he noticed that the sound was a lot closer, coming from somewhere on the track. As he moved closer to where the sound was coming from, he noticed a little kid sitting on one of the motorcycles, pressing the horn button. Not knowing who the kid was, he walked up to him and said,
"Hey, don't do that."
The kid stopped what he was doing, looked up, turned his head towards Tony, and just stared at him with a blank expression. But then Tony tried to move a step closer. The kid just vanished right before his eyes. But wait, Tony's story doesn't end there. A couple of nights later, Tony was doing his regular routine, closing the front gate, making sure it was secured, and doing his checks around the property. Everything seemed normal, and of course, he was the only one at the academy, so he decided to sit down in the breezeway to pass the time. But as he stared out into the parking lot, he noticed an old lady dressed in white walking towards him. At first, he thought the lady may have been lost or needed help. So Tony waved at her to get her attention, but she didn't respond and kept walking toward him. The funny thing crossed his mind. He didn't hear the gate open, so how did she get in? As Tony stood up to ask the old lady, she disappeared. Tony thought, oh no, not again. But this time he decided he better call his supervisor about it. So he turned and guess who's standing there? Yep, the lady in white. And guess what? She starts slowly walking towards him, eyes fixed and staring at him. By now, Tony is freaking out. He's so scared. He can't move. He's frozen. She's so close to him that he notices that her face looks angry. He tries to yell or scream. Nothing comes out. Then whoosh, she disappears again. Tony let out a sigh of relief and slowly looked around. But this time, no one was there. He sat back down to gather his thoughts. He couldn't believe that the ghost appeared twice and was coming after him. Tony was about to stand up and call his supervisor when guess who decides to show up? Yep, the old lady was back, and this time she was sitting right across from him. This was too much for Tony to handle. He sprang up and booked it the heck out of there. See? Tony should have taken my advice the first time, and none of this would have happened. But I know what you're thinking. I'm just some guy repeating to you the stories that he's heard. I get that. But let me tell you something. These things really happened to Tony. I believe him and all the other officers who had similar experiences at the training academy.